Hello, 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 hello. I missed you guys. I missed you guys. I missed you guys. I missed you guys. And I am so ecstatic and happy that I am back. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Please let me know. I am on I got Starlink, you guys. Where I'm living, I decided I am going to test Starlink, and it is awesome. It is, I have to admit. I have to admit. So, what happened? What happened? I went on a break. I needed to detox from social media. I needed to take care of some stuff that was happening in my personal life. I needed to relax. I needed to get out of the daily kind of thinking, content creation. What do I need to put out there? Like, that's not life to me anymore. And I got in this game so I could live a better life for me. And, so, as you guys know, those of you that have been with me for a while, every now and then I just have to take a break. I have to get re-inspired. I have to find myself again as I'm shifting and changing like the clouds in the sky, moving through my own growth and development. And I ended up moving. I ended up moving. There was a little situation I was in the place I was living in before. And it was it's a whole interesting backstory, which I'll save for some other time and place. But suffice to say that spirit knows, spirit flows, and I ended up where I actually originally wanted to go to anyways when I came back to Germany. So I'm living in the north, I'm living by the sea, and it is amazing because I was born by the sea. I lived in Vancouver, I lived in Halifax, I lived in Mexico, and now I'm back by the sea. This is the North Sea. It's gorgeous, wonderful, amazing. And actually, I'm living at the river mouth, right going out into the North Sea. I'll show you guys some pictures. Yes, I'll share some pictures with you, but it's a quaint little town, and I still have a lot to set up. Like, as you can tell, this is just this is my workroom, but I still have a lot to do with it. So you'll see it shift and change. I was born on the 5th, so that's what I do. Over time, right now, I'm getting all the electricity fixed because this is a beautiful house that I moved into. And I'm not alone in the house, but it is gorgeous. And I'm not sharing any, like, it's my own apartment, don't get me wrong. But it was built probably in the 1920s, 1930s, and then renovated after World War II in the 1950s, and then likely again without major changes in the, I'm guessing, 90s around there, that they would have done a lot of updates. So there's still some stuff to be done. And it's a beautiful house. I just love it so much, and it feels like home. And but yeah, so you'll see some things shift and change over time here. Yeah, so let me show you like just a couple pictures, just a couple pictures I'll share with you, just a few, not too many. I've already shared them anyways on I think on my, well, no, not really. I went on a complete social media break, so not even Facebook, I don't think. But let's see here. Share. Yay! So this is an old submarine downtown. And this is right downtown. So this is a shopping mall, and this is a submarine that you can go see. Like, you can, it's a museum now. And that's just walking along the promenade. So you can see how quaint it is. It's very, this is what I'm looking for. You guys, I lived in the most beautiful places. I lived in the most beautiful places. And in none of them did I find the peace that I found, that I'm finding here. Shouldn't, articulate that. But let's see. This is what they call a school ship. And it's, or not a school ship. It's the title of the boat is school ship. So but you can, I don't know, you can rent it out, you can get married here, you can sightsee, you can all kinds of things. So I think it's also a bed and breakfast or a hostel or something. But the masts are about as tall as the church, the church spires. So that's quite interesting. And just a view in. Yay. Yeah. So I'm right by the water, and this is the river mouth into the North Sea. So it's stunning. You can walk almost the entire way up, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what happened. Yeah, but what happened with you guys? How are you doing? Let me know in the chat, and hope you guys are doing great. And we're going to be diving into the energies of this week. I'll be doing a little bit of astrology. And yes, 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 I know I went against astrology for the longest time. I know. And I still have that aspect in me where I say, don't let astrology rule you, don't let it run you. In the sense of limitations, restrictions, or this is your stamp and it's immovable and there's nothing you can do about it. And the very deterministic aspects of it, I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'm looking to the astrology that leaves room for growth and yeah, that kind. And I'm wanting to dive deeper into it. So as you guys know, I'm not really about the surface stuff at all. So yes, for those of you that don't know, I am in an astrology school taking it seriously. I've decided on Vedic astrology, which is what works for me. And I know a lot of people out there that are like, oh my gosh, like you have to stand up for all astrology. You cannot say like this one is more valid than the other, but I do believe you have to stand in for something. And this is what I am standing in for is the sidereal and the Vedic. And I'm saying that works for me, and whatever works for you works for you. But just as you guys, want me to accept you, you have to accept me, right? So it goes both ways here. So if I only choose one, that's fine. And for me, I still have the old mindset where, just choose one and excel at it instead of all the various ways and then end up doing none of it, right? So but it's your call, but it's also my call for my life. So in any case though, what really triggered me to really dive into it and go deep this time and not just, swim through it in a sense was this whole hype around Saturn moving into Aries. And when I looked it up and I saw Saturn was still in Pisces and it's going to stay there, into the 2030s, I thought, hold up, wait a minute, what is this? Now I've come to the decision that these various, layers of astrology, of course, they're different lenses, and of course, you're looking at it from different perspectives, and of course, they're showing you different ways of seeing similar things sometimes. And sometimes it's completely different things. And so it's gotten to the point where I believe that one is showing a specific timeline or a certain timeline, and another one is showing a different timeline. I honestly, if you look at them both, tropical and Vedic, it's like they're speaking two different, not just two different languages and looking at two different things. It's literally describing two different timelines, but it's all up to interpretation, right? And at the end of the day, there's this German saying of whoever heals is right, so it doesn't matter how you get there. If you get there, then you're right, right? So yeah, so we'll dive in. I'll pull up the charts. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, I'll also be pulling cards, right? So we'll be going through Aries through to Pisces. I'm focusing in on your moon sign and your ascendant sign. And so go with that. We'll go from Aries through to Pisces and see how the current energies are going to affect you. I'm looking at from this time now until June 2nd, when Jupiter moves into Pushya, into Cancer. And I'll actually be doing a webinar, but this time it's going to be pre-recorded. So very, very cheap. And you can just download it. It's going to be on my Patreon. But I'm going to sit here and record everything in one go. And you can then watch it at your leisure and have a look at what's coming up for you. But Jupiter in Cancer is going to be a major shift, intuitively speaking, talking to the planets speaking, right? A major inner shift in your inner life, your emotional life, of course, family situations, family structures. And this window up until then is kind of like a karmic, dharmic pathway leading you into this time. Okay, but we'll talk about it. And I'll pull some cards as well um, to see specifically what's coming up for you. Oh my gosh, I am so relaxed. I'm like having the hardest time just keeping my mind because I'm naturally in Piscean, right? So I just drift. And it's interesting to me because today Mars went into Aries. And this is the first day where I'm feeling like, whoa, I can pull it together enough to actually do this live to get some work done. And the last couple of days, like weeks, have just been this drift. So we'll talk about that too, because some of you may be feeling that. And we'll talk about why so many feel like they're in between lives right now, right? And I mean, I'm certainly feeling it, you know, and yes, I'm still settling here where I just moved to. But there's something deeper that's happening as well, where you really feel like you're in between lives. So if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to pre-book, and I'll share the link in 1 second here. Pre-book your question, and I will answer it at the end, like I usually do on these. And I think like this is it now. Like this feels like home. This feels like this is it. I no more, no more. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. I'll travel, but I'm not, I am not. No, just absolute no. Alrighty, so let's get to the charts. And if you guys notice anything in the chart, because I'm sure I'm speaking to people that like you have been reading charts as well, just post it in the chat. Let others know. Share your thoughts, share your insights, your intuition. Let us all know. So I am working with Jagannatha Ora. Da, da, da. That one. And what do we have here? Let me just refresh. I'm just doing it from my location because, yeah, right? I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, I could type in New York. I think the only thing that would change if I put in New York would be the yoga, probably. Because I think that, yeah, so that's 2.26% left. So that might change. But yeah, my. Alrighty, so we have the chart here of the moment, the chart of the moment. So not much is going to change significantly. Well, Thursday, Sun is moving into Taurus, right? And let me check that. Let me check my calendar. And Friday, we've got Shani Jayanti, which is the birthday of Shani, but I'll be doing something specific for that. So yeah, Friday, Mesha into Vrishabha, so Aries into Taurus. And then on Saturday is Shani Jayanti. But I'll be doing specifically something for Shani, and that is Saturn. So yeah, alrighty. So let's have a look at this chart and let's see what's going on. see what's going on. And I have my little red pointer here. Okay, so at this moment, the ascendant is in Virgo. And for those of you that don't read Eastern charts and that are completely confused by it, just a quick recap. This is Jagannatha Hora, the software that is, it's free of charge. It's a life work by the creator. And he's offered it to the world for free, and it is seen as one of the most accurate calculators. This software does not spit out reports. It just gives you calculations and you do all the reporting yourself. So there's no report function where you just click export. No. And so here we have the listing of the planets, the ascendant, which is called Lagna, the planets and specific points. We have the Panchang here, which is another way of looking at time. Let's just call it that. You can Google out, if you don't know what all this is, it'll be information overload anyways. Just Google Panchanga and it'll pop up for you. Then we have the natal chart, which is the main chart, and you can choose whichever chart you have down here. I like to look at the D9. In Vedic, we're looking at many, many different charts and not just at the natal chart, okay? So, but for this, I'm only looking at this chart for this video, for this live here. And so we're looking at the chart of the moment and having a look at what's coming up for us. Okay, until, like I said, the energies until Jupiter changes into Cancer, right? And that means moving over here. So as you can tell in this North Indian chart, because there are several different ones, there's the North Indian, the South Indian, the East Indian. We have the signs here with the numbers. So you have to know the numbers to the signs. So 12, of course, is Pisces, 3 is Gemini, 2 would be Taurus, 1 is Aries, and so on and so forth. And that's how I see that Virgo is on the rising. So some of you already know that. Just close your ears and let other people that don't know find out. It's astrology is insane. Like the whole community. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna go there. But there's this rush to know. I like to savor, you know. But anyways, so we're talking about why people feel in between lives right now. And it's a time of karmic reorganization. And it feels that way, right? Like there's something happening through the entire timeline, through everything that is happening right now. We're looking at Rahu is in Aquarius and Shatabisha Nakshatra to be exact, and Ketu is in Leo and Maga Nakshatra to be exact, but I'm just going to stay with the sun signs. And these two nodal points are really triggering a lot. So we're seeing how with Ketu in Maga, in Leo, which in Vedic corresponds to the Pitar or to the ancestors, right? To what came before, to lineages, to ancestral karma, dharma that is passed down, things of that nature, right? Everything to do with the ancestors. And we're seeing how that is being dissolved because that's what Ketu does, is dissolve all that, break things down. And we're seeing Ketu in the 12th house right now as well, right? So the house of endings, the house of dissolution, the house of letting go, the house of foreign, the house of overseas, far over there, you know, and the house of loss. Okay. So this is significant for the collective. And we can feel how we're literally losing a little bit that thread to the past. And maybe it's hard to articulate, it's hard to put into words, but there's this feeling of reorganization. The world is reorganizing. Our collective is reorganizing. Society is reorganizing. I'm talking to people right now that are already losing their work due to AI. AI falls under Rahu, okay? And technology, technological advances. technological prowess. And so we're seeing how Rahu is in that sign of technology of Aquarius, and how Rahu is accelerating everything, amplifying everything, and kind of turning it into something that we almost have to defend ourselves against, in the sense it's in the sixth house of enemies. And on the one hand, this can be great, like Rahu can help you fight your enemies. On the other hand, whatever it touches can turn into something that you're constantly trying to balance in your life, right? And so we have this amplification of newness, Aquarius, tech, Aquarius, AI, Aquarius, technological advancements that are dissolving our understanding of ourselves, right? How we work, how we function as human beings, but also in a way dissolving that thread, breaking through that thread, cutting that thread to the past. It's like this is a time of a clean break. This is there's that line in the sand before AI, after AI, before the technological advancements of 2020s and after the tech advancements of 2020s. And so people might be feeling burnt out, exhausted, right? Emotionally detached, losing attachment to old goals. All of a sudden, old goals don't seem the same anymore. I mean, I've been speaking to so many spiritual people that are in spiritual communities, and they're all telling me the same thing. In 2012, the world looked different. In 2016, 2017, everything felt different. It was a different energy. It was a different environment around spiritual topics, around spirituality, around life itself, around life on this planet, around who we are. And now people feel like there's some kind of a time that's been lost, even though no time has been lost, right? But there's this gap that happened, and this break in continuity that happened. And it might have been the pandemic, sure, for sure. But it's more than that. It's like everything changed overnight. And so, people, you might be in a phase where you're feeling like friendships are fading. Even old people that you used to connect with, you're just not connecting with them anymore. You may be feeling uncertain about your own purpose because you're navigating now in this new reality. Where am I? Who am I? What am I doing here? You also may be moving homes, jobs, identities, starting new things. You may be feeling spiritually accelerated. Some of you are going to be feeling like, wow, like the sky is opening up above me, the earth is falling away beneath me, and you're just expanding into a different kind of spirituality than before. You may be wanting a quieter, right? The collective may be wanting more quiet lives. And we're seeing that as well with the upcoming criticism that is rising up slowly, but it's building up, building up, building up towards the uber wealthy, towards people that flaunt their wealth in what we feel is kind of not inappropriate, enjoy your life, but in a kind of, for lack of a better word, weird way. Um, I think it really came to a head with Becca Bloom on TikTok. Those of you guys that were following that whole thing. But also the Met Gala. There was another instance where people were like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We have lost touch so much with what's real, with what's valuable, with human life, with what it means to be human, with living a normal life and being okay with that. That it's gotten to a certain point here, right? And we have to take a look at what are we doing? And so this is coming up where people are like, well, quietly just withdrawing, quietly doing their own thing, quietly letting the world turn as it may, but they're following their own lives. They're doing what they feel called to do. Then some of you may be grieving for no obvious reason. You may be feeling like just crying, and just letting the tears fall, right? You may be doing that. You may be doing that. And others of you may be no longer resonating with old environments and not finding a way out of that, not knowing, how do I move out of this? How do I let go of this? How do I become what and who I need to become? How do I live the life that I know I could be living? And sometimes karma, that karmic cycle, it's before you can step into the actual doing, that karmic cycle has to close. And we're kind of seeing that as well in the Middle East, where people are now, with everything happening in the Middle East, um, all these things are coming back on the plate, right? These questions are coming back up, where it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing in the Middle East? What are we doing there? Over a story that nobody really believes in, honestly, that nobody's willing to fight for or die for anymore. A book, legends, lore. What are we doing? And people are realizing, and that's part of the Ketu and Maga, like dissolving all this old, crusted stuff that comes from the ancestors that tells you who you are and limits you. So, in a way, this is an opportunity as well to still acknowledge and respect. And actually, today is a fantastic day for doing ancestral work. The Tithi that we are in is amazing for ancestors. So there's that. That's probably why it's really coming up for me as well, because I was looking up something about my ancestors earlier, and then I checked the energy of the day, and I was like, oh, here we are. So there's that. But this is an opportunity, an amazing opportunity to really let go of the ancestral gunk. We don't have to carry everything forward in order to honor and respect traditions or respect the old. We can keep the pretty things and let the other stuff just be in the past. And so in the example of the Middle East, if we scale it all the way up, it's God gave you a promised land, really, right? And we can now see how maybe the Crusades in the Middle Ages went, right? This firm belief in something that is connecting us, identifying us, tribalism, nationalism, all of that. This is why I love Vedic, right? Because you can see how spirit, I feel anyways, when I look at it. Okay, we can argue about this. But you can see how spirit is trying to dissolve the stuff that needs dissolving or dissolution. And with Ketu and Maga, it's saying it's time to dissolve this old ancestral stuff. Let it go. Let it go. Drop it. Just dissolve it. And it's not holding ground anymore. It's not holding ground anymore. And a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you could say, I really believe this. This is my firm belief that God gave me the right to be here. God gave me this land. And that comes from my ancestors. And that gave me the identity of who I am today. And I'm going to hold on to that. And Ketu and Maga is not having any of that. It's like, that's toxic. Shake it off, babe. Shake it off. And it's time for us to recognize that. And on a global scale, right? This is actually an energy I feel personally that is bringing us more into, or opening the doors, right? Opening the doors for us to become more human, to become more of a collective, to be able to release that, especially during these times of heightened nationalism. and heightened search for identity. This is not a coincidence. Okay. So I'm really feeling that very strongly because I feel like racism is back on the rise. This is a topic where 5 years ago I was like saying to other people, racism is done. You know, people are allowed to have their preferences and blah blah blah. No, racism is right back. We all know it's true. I'm not saying anything here that's we know it's not. It's true. Racism is back front and center. It's like the entire work that we didn't happen. And it's all with people attached to the past, attached to a specific identity, an identity that has only existed for the last maybe 100 years, but everybody's acting like it's been this way since time eternal, right? Every human being is allowed to roam wherever they want to roam. If we had no borders and everything was free, people would stay near their loved ones. Then the studies have been done. The studies have been done. Most people do not wander, and not their entire lives, and not really far away from their loved ones. The majority of people would be right where they were born, where they have their family, where they have their connections, right? But because the world is the way it is, people are wondering, and that's fine. That's totally fine because that's what we're supposed to do. To us, we are the planet belongs to us. But these stories that we tell, these imagination things that we tell, these the power that we give long dead men who drew on a map straight lines, not even following the natural course of things, straight lines with a ruler, and saying this is a border and you're allowed to cross and you're not. And we believe these stories, right? And we believe that says something about who we are, which is ridiculous. And Ketu and Maga is saying, you guys, wake up, wake up. So I don't know if we will, because there is another chart and another timeline that we are following, which is a lot more to do with raw willpower, a lot more to do with raw energy, a lot more to do with um, raw, you know, this is what I want, going against the natural order and the natural flow of things, which is a lot slower than this chart as well. Why do I say that? Because Saturn is still in Pisces. Okay. Actually, Saturn is in Uttara Bhadrapada in that nakshatra. And this nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada is it's a Shiva nakshatra. It's an aspect of Shiva that is all the way at the bottom of the ocean and carries the world. And this form of Shiva is in deep meditation. So I find it interesting how, when you, and this is how we divided up the sky, right? So we're not even in a certain astrology sticking to our own pie in the sky kind of thing. But I'm not going to go down that route because I know it's going to trigger some people. But it's right now in Vedic, in that system, it's in Uttara Bhadrapada. And this is the serpent at the bottom of the ocean. And Uttara Bhadrapada is my lagna, it's my rising sign, it's my ascendant. And it surfaces, it comes back up and it goes down again, and it surfaces. So this is where Saturn is sitting in this deep meditation at the bottom of the ocean, very quiet. And when Shiva, who's represented by Ahirbudnya, which is the deity of this nakshatra, which is a serpent, when Shiva gets into that space and starts meditating, it's hard to wake him up. So he just stays in that meditative state. But in that meditative state, he's more aware than you or I or anybody that's awake in the world up here. There's a deeper awareness. There's a full awareness that is happening there. And this is where Saturn has been resting for quite some time. And Saturn is actually finally going to be moving a little bit, still in Pisces, but it's moving into the Revati nakshatra on May 17th. And when it moves into the Revati, Revati is the portal to the other world. It's the this is where we completely leave a cycle, but this is also a birth canal, right? So we're leaving, and the emphasis is on leaving, not on left. So Saturn will be going through this Revati, this final nakshatra in the lunar mansions, in the nakshatras. It's the last one. And then it starts over again in Ashwini and Aries, which is where Mars landed this today. So we'll talk about that in a second. But Saturn is still underwater. It's still in the deep ocean. It's meditating right along with Uttara with Ahir Butnia. And so during this time where Saturn is down there, it's a lot happens. This is the nakshatra of losing your identity, being stripped of everything, right? So the nakshatra that happens before is a fire with Purva Bhadrapada, and everything is burnt away from you, purified. It's the nakshatra of being purified. Then in Ahir Butnya, in Uttara Bhadrapada, only the essence remains. Only the what is important remains. And so there's a soul maturation that goes along with this, an identity death in a certain way of seeing things that goes along with this. There's discernment, knowing what's real from what's fake, knowing what's true and what's not true for you. There is emotional purification that still happens, a coming back to yourself. Because when you hit that final nakshatra in Revati, you leave, right? You move through into the next, into the next. And so right now, this is also a phase where with Ahir Butnya in this deep meditation, you're shifting from all those nakshatras or all those signs before where it was all about survival, showing yourself, showing up, survival, surviving, doing all that. And now you're moving into alignment. And so we have this energy of alignment that is still happening, that is still ongoing. And so many people right now are feeling, I want to be more authentically me. I want to, and when it's about me, I'm not talking about the ego me. Like that's done, I think, for a lot of people, right? We realize now we've come to this phase now where we realize I am not who I create myself to be. It's something else, right? And so it feels like people are realizing I want to be my authentic self. Whatever that means, whatever that shows up as, I don't want to have to show up and perform. I don't want to have to show up and pretend. I don't want to have to show up and do the dance, right? I just want to be me. And we hear that in people saying, I don't want to work like this anymore. I don't want to have to do this kind of job in this way anymore. I want to do it this way. I take time off for my mental health. I take time off for my emotional life balance. I take this seriously. So there's that's really, really showing up. So a lot of people right now that maybe think, on the one hand, I'm failing in a sense, right? According to old standards that are completely dissolving, you're realizing you're not failing. You're shedding karmic structures, you're shedding karmic stuff that no longer supports who you truly are, no longer supports the true vibration that you represent, the true frequency that you are here to experience, to live, to manifest, to radiate outwards for others to engage with. And some phases of life are meant for building, get out there, do your thing, build up the bricks, do all that. But other phases, you're just meant to sit and wait. And this is just one of them. And it's not a waiting in that sense. For in that, how should I put this? It's an allowing, right? It's a letting, it's a listening, it's a receiving, but without the action part. So, yeah. So we have Saturn in Pisces that is like slowing things down, bringing things deeper, doing the whole identity work. But we have Rahu shivering in Aquarius going, "Whoa." Yes, let's move towards the future. And this is adding to the collective overwhelm where people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to look first. We've got energy prices, we've got food prices, we've got housing crisis. In Germany, it's an ongoing topic. They don't have enough apartments for all the people that are here, right? Um, so on and so forth. Many, many reasons for that. Won't get into that, but each country is going through whatever they're going through. And so we've got all that going on. And then add to that, we've got people already connecting with me, telling me, Karleen, I don't know if I have a job because they're canceling my job due to AI. That's real. Something that we were talking about a couple months ago as a possibility is happening in real time. And while that is happening in real time and they're talking about UBIs, they're talking about, all of that, we know that's just going to remain talk because when you look through history at every time we took a significant advancement forward, we took a significant step forward, whether the Industrial Revolution or the steamer, whatever it is, did it immediately benefit all the people? Was there an immediate benefit from that? No, right? No. So why is it going to be any different when they bring in AI into all our systems? So there's this realization that needs to arise who we are, where our power lies, and what we need to do moving forward. And it's not stopping this, but ensuring that, right? So we need to shift our focus from, oh, this needs to end and to stop. It's not going to stop. To ensuring that and standing up for our own rights and standing up for what we need. That is definitely going to happen because the UBIs are not going to roll out tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, even though they could do that. They're not doing it. So, yeah. So Rahu's focused on towards the future, right? This collective overwhelm that is happening with everything going on in our society, technological overstimulation. This is all Rahu, mental overload, Rahu, identity fragmentation, Rahu, social diffusion, Rahu, disconnect from embodiment, Rahu. Right? And Ketu in Leo, like I said, dissolving old family stuff, dissolving old ambitions that arose out of family stuff. Feeling strangely invisible, questioning purpose and self-expression, right? Yeah. So then we have another major player, and I'll be focusing, like I said, on that when I do the Jupiter and Cancer webinar that I will be posting on Patreon, and I will be pre-recording the whole thing. So all you need to do is download it and the PDFs that are going to go along with it and check your own chart and see how this, will roll out for you. But all the information you need is going to be in there. And because this is going to be a very subtle but very major shift that is happening in June. And that is going to be very beneficial, like very beneficial, because Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. But right now, Jupiter is still in Gemini. So this gives us, still this feeling of we need more information, we need more knowledge, we don't have enough knowledge. We need to learn more, all of that. That's coming from that Jupiter and Gemini energy. But the biggest thing, and for today, this very day, is that Mars shifted into Aries. Yes, it left Pisces. And for those of you that are very sensitive to that, it left Pisces and is now in Aries. So it's And no coincidence that today is the day that I spontaneously decided this is it. I'm doing this live today. Because Mars in Aries, and especially in the first nakshatra, the first part of Aries in Ashwini, is very fast, very clear, very Aries, very Martian, there's nothing that stops it during that time. It slows down a little bit when it gets into Bharani, and it really gets condensed in Kritika, which is the last part of the Aries sign. But in Ashwini, it's just go. So some of you are going to feel like, wow, now is the time. I need to get things done. I want to do things. I want to go out and do this. I want to stand up and get this done. I need to make things happen and go for it. Go for it. Utilize the energy. Use this slingshot to do the things that you have been holding back on, procrastinating a little bit. Okay. The energy is there for that exact reason. Go for it. So you may feel a pressure or an urgency to act during this time. You may feel like, this is my window of opportunity. And in a sense, it is because Mars moves, I think it's 0.5 degrees per day. So that means 2 months that it takes to move through a sign. And it moves through the entire zodiac once every 2 years. So it'll be leaving Aries 2 months from now. So that would be mid-June, late June. I have to check, but mid-June, late June, early July, somewhere around there. So now is the time because Mars in Aries is at home. It's at home. So it can just be free. It can do magical wonders moving through that part of your chart, right? So for me, because I'm Pisces rising, okay, it's going to be moving through the second house. Okay. So second house is family stuff is going to come up. And in a sense it did, but in a good way, in a very positive way. But also themes around wealth building, work, in a sense, right? Because I have to work to build wealth. And things of that nature, right? Where I start thinking about that again or start working towards that again. This is all going to be, this is the time, right? So it's depends on where it's at in your chart, of course, what it's going to trigger. But this is an auspicious time, I must say, and to get things done and to start moving things. So let me not dwell too long on this. Let's move through because I still want to move through all 12 signs and then answer your questions. Okay. So let's should I stop the share? Are you guys okay with me continuing to keep this up, or should I stop the share here? Hmm. Let me see. Let me see. How can I? Oh, this is so cool. Here we go. Yay. Let's do it like this. I hope this works. So anyways, I'll keep it like this. Yeah. And we'll go through all the signs. We'll go through Aries through to Pisces, and I'll do it really quickly and just seeing how things show up for you. And Aries, this is, and again, we're talking about your moon sign and your ascendant. So not your sun sign necessarily, your moon sign and your ascendant. Okay. So Aries, this is a time of a major identity reset. Okay. It's energy returns, but you can be impulsive. Okay. And you can make quick decisions, right? So you want to, yes, use this energy to catapult yourself forward and finally do what you want to do, what you know to be right. But at the same time, you want to be thinking about things. You want to think things through. But this is a time where you can shoot from the hip. So be mindful, be wary. You can do things spontaneously. You can do things ad hoc. You can do things impulsively, and you don't want to regret it. And also focus on building or rebuilding the foundations that you need to build rather than proving yourself. Don't fall into that trap because Mars also wants to prove itself. Okay. Let me pull a card for you. Those of you that are Aries. Aries, and let's see, Aries moon. Yeah, Six of Wands. So there's something here about bridging, right? And okay, let me put it like this, Six of Wands. And you can see this bridge here. So there's something here about bridging and re-bridging to the something maybe that was broken off. Okay. So it feels like you're going to learn some new information, Aries. Some new information is coming to you that's going to allow you to re-bridge, that's going to allow you to reconnect, that's going to allow you to rebuild. There may be someone who's offering you something as well, an apology, an opening, something like that. I feel like bridges were burnt and they're going to be rebuilt. Put it in a nutshell. Okay. All right, moving on oh, to Taurus. Taurus, for you, this is a time, and again, moon or ascendant, it's a deep mental clearing period for you. Okay, hidden fears and exhaustion may be surfacing. And this is a time, strong intuition, if you slow down enough to hear it. So really listen within, really do the deep dive within, listen within, pay attention to your feelings, pay attention to the energies that you pick up on, pay attention to your intuition. Super important during this time. Okay. And stuff that you haven't been wanting to deal with that is within you is now surfacing. Okay. Is now coming up. And maybe it'll be easier if one second. Hold on. Show chart from this house. Yeah. Okay. So that way you can follow along. So when you're Taurus rising, this is what's happening in your 12th house, right? So you've got a lot going on there. Transiting. And so this is why your deep-seated stuff is going to be coming to the surface. This is why your hidden fears, exhaustion is coming up. Strong intuition, if you happen to, if you listen to it, okay? You listen to it. Let's see here, Gemini. Reevaluation of friendships, audiences, communities. Your entire network, your system of your collective network, you're going to be reevaluating that. You're going to be looking at that again. And maybe you're going through a time here of thinking, is this really worth it? Are these friends that I want to keep with? Is this the network I want to roll with? Is this who I want to be associated with? Is this how I want to be seen? And some social dynamics in your life are going to be feeling spiritually expired, like done. I'm done with it. Okay. So let's have a look. And your card, Gemini, is the Queen of Wands. Yeah, you're definitely going to be following the beat of your own drum. You're doing your own thing, keeping a door open, right? Keeping an exit loop, possibly withdrawing to find nature, your own true nature. Okay. Cancer, this is going to be a time of career and public identity transformation. Sorry, I didn't, got to switch. So here we've got that going on. So identity and career transformation. Yeah. And it's a time where, and again, I'm only focusing on the energies up until Jupiter switches into Cancer. Okay. Jupiter switches into Cancer in June. So until then, you have the opportunity, Cancer, to do this career, public identity transformation. You may be feeling called towards more meaningful work that is aligned with your emotional truth, that is aligned with what you really truly believe to be right for you. And the card that comes up for you here is the sun, literally. So yeah. Okay. The sun. And you're going to be really following your inner light, following your inner sun, following what you feel you're here to do. Leo, you're going to have big worldview shifts. This is what it's all about here. You're going to have big worldview shifts. Okay. You're going to be thinking about things in from a different perspective a little bit. Your old beliefs are going to be dissolving. Possible pull towards spirituality. You might be thinking about traveling for spirit. You might be for spirit things, spiritual things. You might be going deeper into studies or learning about spiritual things. You may be taking up astrology again. You may be diving deeper into astrology that you already do. But it feels as if is some old crusty stuff is leaving, Leo. It really is going. And you're shifting, you're changing how you even how you appear to the world, how you show up in the world. Maybe you're changing your style, you know? Okay. And at the same time, you might be giving off this impression like you don't really care, you know? You maybe have been someone who really took care of yourself, who really had a specific way. And now all of a sudden it's you're like, I'm not that shallow anymore, you know? I want something deeper. Not that it's shallow to take care of yourself, but you guys know what I mean. I don't want that to be the only thing that people identify me with. What's a deeper experience that I can have in this life? It's yeah, you're feeling pulled towards a deeper experience of life. Virgo, you've got this psychological purification that is happening. Mm, yeah, it's the stellium in your eighth house there. So karmic entanglements, fun times, Virgo. Debts, yoo-hoo! Energetic exchanges, trust dynamics. All of this comes up for you to work with, deal with, focus on, walk through. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You actually don't mind because you like having order in your house. You prefer to have that. So, but I'm intuitively focusing on these karmic entanglements and debts, right? And I mean, when I speak of debts, I mean karmic debts in that sense. And that is something that is now clearing out of your system until June. Libra. Oh, your card? Your card, we've got the hanged one. Yeah, you might be uncertain what to do, and you don't need to be uncertain what to do. Just be you. Be you. This is all in the program. It's all in the plan. Just be you. Just do what you would do naturally, and things will flow. It'll be okay. Libra, relationships are under review. Okay, you're going to be focusing on that. Yeah. And relationships, focusing on that, not necessarily endings, no, but a recalibration around, am I getting what I receive? Am I receiving the same level of commitment, investment, interest around what I offer others, around what I give others, right? Emotional honesty, sovereignty, these things come up on the plate for you. Yeah. And your card is the star. Yeah. Look at that. So this is wish fulfillment, hopes fulfilled, but also yearning and um, planning, focusing on the future, planning for the future, looking to the future. Hope revived. Something revives your hope. Okay. So it does feel as if something is shifting, something is becoming more positive for you. Scorpio, we've got lifestyle and nervous system restructuring. Yeah. There's massive healing here happening for you. You have Scorpio. I'm feeling intuitively like there's some kind of a burnout theme that may be running. Um, this feeling of you need to be healthier, you need to be embodying things differently, right? A little bit more disciplined, maybe in your workouts, how you eat, how you show up. You may be craving simplicity, these kind of things. So, your card is the great work. Yeah. This is one of the extra cards in this deck. It's not a traditional tarot, and it's the final card in this deck, and it comes after the world card. Okay. And it's or no, after another additional card which has to do with ancestors. So I think there are 3 or 4 additional cards, and this is all the way at the end of it. And so the great work has to do with the great work on yourself. Okay. And the great work of balancing your inner and your outer life, your spiritual and your material, your all the different aspects of yourself, right? Balance, bringing that into balance. It is a great work, and evolving that and growing that. It's a great work. So this is a time where you're going to be focusing on that, right? Bringing everything into balance, Scorpio, growing yourself, healing yourself, bringing health into all aspects of your being. Sagittarius, for you, whoopsies. Why do I keep forgetting? Sag, for you, it's all about creativity. Yeah. But I'm also feeling vulnerable, right? So allowing yourself to be seen as vulnerable, allowing your vulnerability to shine. And you may be having deeper questions around your authentic self, around visibility, around letting your authenticity be seen, a self-expression, inner child healing. Maybe you grew up in an environment or in an energy where if you self-expressed, you were somehow punished for it in some way, shape, or form. And now you're very careful how you let that out. So there's this rebirth energy that is coming in for you. And you showing your inner creativity, your inner joy, your inner happiness. It's a great time. We've got 8 of Wands. Yeah. Following your inner pull, communicating your truth. This is something that you need to practice during this time. Capricorn, this is all about the energy for the next while is all about your home life. Okay. Family, home, ancestors, belonging, emotional security. This all becomes central. So you may be quietly, right, from the inside out, kind of looking at things, looking at your life, looking at your family, looking at how things um, were, how you structured things in your mind as well, right? And shifting things around that, changing things around that, changing beliefs, mindset, perspective, changing your intuitions, right? Let's see what your card is here. But there's something coming up where you're really going to be working on family stability and a home, creating good connections with your family. And here you also have the star. Okay, so there's a connection to the other sign that also had the star. I'm not quite sure which word that was anymore. Was that Scorpio or Libra? But there's a connection there between you and the other sign that had a star. So go back. I'm pretty sure it's Libra or Scorpio and check. There's a message there for you. Or you may be dealing with a Libra or Scorpio as well. Aquarius. Let's see what's coming up for you. You've I pulled your card, 1 second. Let me shift this here. Aquarius. So some of you with Rahu in the first and the moon, it's be mindful because some people might be think you're going through a little bit of a selfish period, okay? And Yeah, you may be quick to dissolve connections with other people. You may be quick to dissolve relationships. You may be feeling like you need to dissolve some relationships, or some relationship decides it needs to dissolve you. But this is a time where your communication, what you communicate, what you put out there, it shifts. You may have strong mental downloads, strong insights. Rahu does give you that, and Ketu as well, but also overstimulation risk. Okay, so you need to be mindful, be aware that you balance things out, because Rahu and Ketu can pull you out of alignment. Okay, and yeah, you've got the chariot. You're definitely going to be going your own way, Aquarius. You're going to be doing your own thing, going your own way, following your own path, you're doing your own trajectory. You're not really going to take input from others. Like, you'll hear them, but it'll be like in one ear, out the other, and you're going to do your own thing anyways. And that's just the period you're in, and that's okay, right? So this is a time for that. This is a time to take action on your inner self, on your inner intuition, your inner guidance. And this is a time to move forward. Absolutely. And do your thing. Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. So let's see here. We've got value system transformation, transforming your value system. Yep, a big one. Once again, Pisces is always doing that. And we've also got, what else do we have here? Yeah, this just this focus on money, finances, right? Family, wealth, inheritance, in a certain sense. Energetic exchanges, learning what really makes you tick, what really supports you, what you really need. And so it goes beyond just financials and resources. It's, what kind of friends do you need? What kind of family do you need? What kind of conversations do you need? What kind of support do you need? Right? And so this is where you're reassessing everything, kind of like looking at, where did I plant myself? Everybody says bloom where you are planted, but where did I plant myself? Because maybe I don't want to bloom here. And then uprooting and planting yourself into where you do want to bloom. So it's more this entire energy. Yeah, Pisces, you've got the tower, so there's uprootment coming. Okay. There's some kind of uprootment that's coming forward for you. And that's okay. It's perfect. It's exactly what you need at this moment. It's all going to settle again in a little while. But now is not the time to focus on manifesting harder, and pushing things. It's more about, hey, I need to align. And I kept saying that. There are two things that I constantly over the years have said. Number one, grace is always there in the most um, darkest moments, at the darkest times. You will always find grace. You will always, there's always something. And the second thing is alignment. Alignment, alignment, alignment. And this is trickier for a lot of us, because we're trained to want certain things, right? And to just accept our lives the way they are, right? And to say, okay, this is what I was meant to do, this is what I was meant to experience. That's very tricky, because we're being taught constantly that you create yourself. So now we have these two belief sets where, do I create myself, or do I live the life I was given? And it's a mix of both, right? And so the one thing about manifesting, though, is that you're like a radio. So it's not about changing everything outside of yourself so that only certain frequencies can be heard from a radio. It's turning the dial, attuning yourself to the music that you want to play, to what needs to come out of you. And this is what's happening for Pisces, where you're in a phase where you're going to be learning that you can manifest all you want, you can do all that. It'll work for sure. But your soul deep inside is still going to want to experience alignment, attunement. And even if you manifest the big house, the car, the yard, the man, the kid, whatever it is, there's still going to be that moment at night when you're sitting at the edge of the bed and you're going, what's it all for? When you're going, I still don't feel aligned. I want to feel that connection to the divine again. And so you're going to be moving through that and you're going to be releasing whatever is holding you back. It's just not sustainable anymore. So I don't see it as this active release. Oh yeah, get rid of this. It's just not sustainable. You can't hold the energy. You can't do it. Can't do it. Okay. So don't mind when that happens. Know that everything is in divine timing. Know that everything is perfect just the way it is. Okay. Alrighty, so let's get to your questions. And don't forget that if you would like a deep session with me, and I'm going back into mentoring again, and I have amazing people that I've been working with for months, for years, that are just doing fantastic things with their lives. And I'm so happy and proud to be walking with them. So if you would like to hear about that, learn about that, how I work with people to get you to where and who you want to be, just reach out. I'm here. Let's see the questions that came up and let's dive into that. And again, if you would like some questions answered, whatever question that may be, you'll find the link in the chat box. It's pinned all the way to the top. And just send in your question and I will do it right here, right now. So, Nora, will I go to Russia for a treatment and would that improve my health? Thank you. Let's have a look. And so the first thing I am looking at right in front of me is the chart at the moment that I'm reading the question. And you're lucky because right away, the answer is yes. Okay, yes. Now, there might be some difficulties about getting there, about being there, but overall, you're asking this question in the as the moon is in the nakshatra of Shatabishak. And Shatabishak, and in the Gori Panchanga, which is where I really focus on, which is Amrita. And Amrita is a yes, right? It's sweet. It's the nectar of the gods. It's the nectar of the gods. Okay. And Shatabisha is a healing nakshatra. It's healing, mysticism, secrets, research, isolation. So yes, this is a clear yes. But like I said, I am picking up intuitively there might be some issue about getting there or being there. Maybe something around some kind of paperwork is popping up for me. That may be an issue. But overall, it will all work out. And yes, this is it would improve your health. Okay. It would help. It would help. There's some But again, take this with a grain of salt because health readings are a thing. I have to say that. Okay. And it's I don't want to be completely absolute in this. Okay. So take it for what it is, a surface touching base. But you cannot base your decision just on this alone. Okay. But there's something that is calling you in Russia. It feels like this is going to be touching base with a lot more than than just in air quotes, the healing process. There's something here. I don't know if it's ancestral, karmic, past life, something like that. But there's an unfinished imbalance in the field, in the force. Yeah. And you'll be going back there to balance that out. Again, I'm getting Nine of Swords energy right here. So Nine of Swords energy is indicating that you're going to be thinking like there's going to be a whole process around this. It's not a light step, okay? But there's something that you're bringing up, you're digging up from the deep that is connected to that, okay? Let's see what else here. I hope that helps, and I truly wish you a betterment. I hope that everything resolves for you um, wonderfully. Okay. Right. So then we have a Shaka White. Advice from Spirit. Yes. Advice from Spirit. Sure. Advice from Spirit for Shaka, please. As I'm looking out my skylight. I've got a skylight up there and it's so all I see are clouds and sky. And sometimes when I look through the I just scry in the clouds and see what I see. And for you, Shaka, it's like a pathway was opening. There's a pathway between the clouds. There's one big cloud over here and a little cloud over here, and there's a pathway in between. And so I was seeing this pathway, and it feels like, a pathway is opening for you. There's some kind of a pathway that is being made for you. Yeah, we've got the Four of Swords. This is stability and healing. Okay. You're still in a healing phase. You're still in a healing phase, and spirit is going to keep things stable for you. The Four of Swords has to do with healing and laying low for that healing, being quiet, not moving, allowing things to happen, receiving without the action part of receiving, right? So there's an active part of receiving, but we're not talking about that. It's just being there. You don't even have to be fully with the Four of Swords. You don't have to do anything. Spirit is saying we're not expecting anything from you. We're not testing you. We're not challenging you. We're not doing anything of that with you. Just be. You are safe to be, and you're still in this nervous system calibration and this healing part of your life, and a pathway is open. And as I'm saying it, the clouds have shifted again and the pathway is gone, like it's completely gone. So this pathway is going to open up for you, and try to see it for what it is. And even an opportunity, a potential, a possibility. And even if you don't take it, it's okay. Just start recognizing them. And then maybe you'll take the next one. Okay. This is about just recognizing, oh, this is meant for me, and accepting this is meant for me. And that leads me to a general message for everyone. And I'm feeling that all of a sudden coming in and like, whoa. So I have to say this, but it's time to accept what is meant for you. Okay. And not just looking and seeing, oh my gosh, this person is getting this and that person is getting that. And why do they get all this? It's time for everyone, for all of us, everybody listening here, to recognize that spirit has given to you too, and that you have things that are for you too, and to acknowledge that, to acknowledge it. And this is not about a gratitude journal. It's not even about any saying thank you. Spirit doesn't need that. It's about you recognizing that spirit has given and is giving to you too, and to accept it, right? So there's a certain humility as well that goes in with receiving from spirit, accepting from spirit, and saying thank you in a sense. You don't have to, but just knowing that what's yours is yours, and accepting that. I hope that made sense, but that came in so strong right now that people have such a hard time accepting. And it's so easy to look across the aisle, to look across the table and say, look at what they've received, look at the plate you gave them, and not realizing spirit served you too, right? Served you too, and not bad food, not bad things. And to recognize that, and you don't have to do anything with it. I'm feeling like just accepting that and sitting with that is a lot of work in and of itself, and that'll lead you to new recognitions, seeing things, new perspectives, recognizing your pathways that are opening for you, that are meant for you, and not just because some of us think, oh, that would happen to everybody, or that pathway is just open and I happen to be there. So, but it wasn't specifically meant for me. And Spirit's like, no, recognize that this is specifically for you with your name on it. It is for you. Okay. And not just some random occurrence. It is for you. So the card that comes up for you again as well is the Three of Stones. Okay. So I feel like a career push is going to happen for you if you're willing, if you want to, over the next 3 months. And that there's some kind of a building that's happening, maybe a new position, maybe an opportunity, a pathway is opening for you, a possibility is opening for you. And it's for you to take it. You'll still have to work on it, but it's yours. Okay. And it'll lead to the success that you're looking for. All right. So let's have a look. And we've got Aaron. Could you let me know how my YouTube channel will do in the next 3 months? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. A YouTube for Aaron, please, in the next 3 months. And let me just check the chart of the moment. It should be, yeah, again, there's work to be done. Absolutely work to be done. And there's still this energy around others. There's still this energy around others because now it's shifted, and I'll show you the chart for a quick second. Mm. So now it's shifted, right? And before, when I started this, the ascendant was Virgo. Now we're in Libra. Libra is the sign of the other, right? So connections, partnerships, that kind of thing. And we've got in the seventh house of this chart, we've got that Mars, Mercury, Sun in Aries. So there's still something that has to do with the other people or another person that you may be dealing with, Aaron, that is going to be influencing that big time. Okay, big time. Maybe there's a focus on other people that you're having. Okay. And it's not that you shouldn't, but just keep it healthy. Keep it healthy. And it also feels as if maybe you should be asking, right, the right people to go in partnership with them and to do things with them. Okay, so that may be another thing here. But you're going to have to, there's some kind of a change that a transformation that you're going to be going through, because we've got the Page of Wands and Death. Okay. And death doesn't mean endings, it means transformation. So there's something that you're going to be transforming, possibly about the message, Page of Wands, how you give that message, Page of Wands, what messages you give, Page of Wands. There's something that you're transforming there. Okay. Yeah. All righty. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you, those of you that were asking questions. If any of you have any more questions, let me know. And I'm more than happy to answer. But otherwise, feel free to connect with me either through Hipsy or through Acuity. The links are in the description box below. And I'm more than happy to hear from you, more than happy to work with you and see what comes up for you and what this time is bringing you. Oh my gosh. So insane. I am feeling, like I said, you guys, I am so relaxed and just really, I had to somehow, I don't know, pull it together and if you've been offline, right? When you haven't been showing yourself. It's so, you feel so vulnerable as well, and you're like, oh my gosh, do I really want to do that? Get back on again? But yeah, I do. I do. I do. I just need phases of peace. And I got that. And I'm happy and I'm rejuvenated and re-inspired and happy to get going again. And can't wait to dive into everything that's happening in the planet and the world. Make sure you join my Patreon because over there I'll be posting the webinar of June in Cancer. And that is also when we're going to be seeing shifts, big shifts in the Middle East. Some of you have been, I don't know if you watched my last video, and I said, do not listen to the news because it's just going to be up and down and all around, but nothing's going to, really, we're not in World War III yet. I mean, and when I say that, I don't mean behind the scenes stuff because that has been ongoing anyways. But I mean the all out official World War III. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. And I will definitely let you know. And I've said in the previous videos, we're this close and we are this close. But right, I also said that June is when you're going to be seeing something like not completely end, but kind of die down in the Middle East and come to a temporary stop because it's going to flare back up again, just not until the end of the year or next year. And then we're in a scary cycle. But for now, June is where we're going to see something shift down there big time. Okay. So yeah, I'll be doing videos on that over on Patreon as well. And on my other YouTube channel, my second one, which I also took a break from, you'll be seeing a video on Jupiter in Cancer. That's probably going to go up today or tomorrow. No, tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be putting that up. Okay. So excited to see you over there. If you're already over there, excited to meet you on my Patreon, excited to work with you in personal sessions to see what life is bringing you and what your next step is and how you move forward from here and what spirit has in store for you. Okay. So let me know in the description box below. And otherwise, I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this space with me, being alive with me, living this life with me. It is so good that you are here. Take care. Bye. Oh.